Like every Monday night, you are checking out Breakfast Super Raw.
Bon appetit, as Don, Tony, and Mish dish out their opinions about the world of pro wrestling, sports, news, and pop culture. Breakfast Super Raw.
And now, your host, Mish and Don Tony.
Hey, what's up, everybody? I could tell who watched Raw tonight and who didn't just by this soundbite. Are they really going to do that with Braun Strowman? Are they really? Did you see that with Braun Strowman, what they did with him tonight, Mish?
No, what happened?
Oh, my God. Oh, man. By the way, what's up, everyone? Don Tony here, and welcome to this edition. We'll do the intros another time. Braun Strowman had a match with Elias, yes, and just as we predicted, Shane McMahon's injury was nothing but mind games. He was going to attack Braun Strowman. Their match is set for WrestleMania. But what they decided to do tonight for the first time ever is, you know how Braun runs around ringside and he does that pounce? Remember Monty Brown with the pounce? He runs and gets that, that speed and then just shoulder tackles somebody. Now when Braun Strowman is about to run around, I tell you, looking back on it, I actually think it would have been pretty cool if they would have done that with The Godfather. Remember when he would go in the corner and you'd be like, but now when Braun Strowman is about to run around ringside, you start hearing noise. And then when Braun starts running around ringside, they actually played that crap. Come on, man.
That was horrible.
It was horrible.
So cheesy, man. It was so fucking cheesy.
It was very cheesy.
Not a fan of it. Sorry.
No, I'm not a fan of it. Look, this is a perfect example of what we talk about once in a while, that WWE will try something and then they'll gauge social media. And they'll see what the reaction is to it. Maybe it needs to grow on us. I think it's kind of goofy, but hey, maybe after a couple of times we watch that, But what stipulation do you think Braun Strowman is going to choose at WrestleMania? Because Shane McMahon told him, you pick any stipulation you want. Are we going to get a brain on a pole? I mean, Braun is stupid. So shouldn't the stipulation be stupid? Should it be a math competition?
What do you think? It's going to be like a fucking spelling bee at WrestleMania?
I have no idea, man. But I tell you, look, I've been saying this for 2-3 weeks now. I don't mind the storyline because I know Shane McMahon always delivers. And as you and I said 2 weeks ago, in the end, Shane McMahon is going to get his ass kicked. He's going to get his ass kicked. There's no way stupid Braun, who's in the best shape of his career and his life, who they're going to start pushing after WrestleMania, stupid ain't going to lose to Shane. So I don't know what the stipulation will be.
I have no idea, dude. I seriously have no idea where you're going to go with this.
IQ test.
I don't know. You know what? Honestly, as much as I want to, make jokes about what's going on with Orton and Bliss and everything else like that, and how people shouldn't take things seriously, it's just a cheesy. I don't know what the thought behind it was. Does that mean that are they trying? Okay, so let's try and understand why they added the sound effect for Braun Strowman. Is Braun Strowman going to have that sound effect where whenever Braun shows up or does something, they're just going to play a train?
Well, they have that as part of his intro already. But the thing is, when he's winding up to run around ringside, just think of storyline. Think of suspension of disbelief. If I'm the wrestler taking on Braun Strowman and I'm outside the ring a little woozy, and then all of a sudden blasting over the fucking speakers, I hear this. something tells me, get the fuck out of the way. Climb under the ring, jump the guardrail. You don't just sit there and soak it in. The minute you hear the noise, you run away.
But are we going to do this with all the wrestlers?
I think they're going to do it for all the wrestlers.
Going to have a sound, and Matt Riddle's going to have a scooter sound effect. And the New Day is just going to have trumpets blaring, and because you have to look at it the same way that they started doing with the 3D technology. Remember when that shit first came out? It was really bad, and then it got better, and people are okay with it now. And then remember back when they were trying to put in closed captioning when the wrestlers would talk, and they would put on the giant, the giant word on the screen to emphasize what they were saying in the promo, and that didn't fly over, and nobody liked that, and that's gone now.
Yeah.
So, is this?
Yeah. Remember the fonts? Remember those giant fonts on the screen when Alexa Bliss was feuding with Nia? You're fat. Big bold letters. It's like the clickbait you see on YouTube with everybody's previews for their shows. Oh my God, that was priceless, man. Thank God we weren't doing video at that time.
A few weeks, right? It was a few weeks of them doing that. So
yeah, absolutely. Hey, I'll tell you one thing. I think Sheamus versus Riddle at WrestleMania might end up, being awesome, because you and I brought this up a month or two ago. Sheamus and Riddle had one of the best matches this year so far as Raw goes. Riddle and Sheamus had some magic earlier this year. And I tell you,
I kind of disagree with that. As far as Raw goes, I think the best matches that you've had on Raw have been Drew and Sheamus.
Oh, yeah, but I'm saying, I remember us really praising the hell out of Sheamus versus Riddle. They actually had a lot of chemistry together. And to see those two go at it at WrestleMania, I tell you, I wouldn't have a problem with Sheamus taking the title from Riddle. Riddle, look, that's the problem with having the character like WWE has chosen for Riddle. Riddle is so much of an airhead, a beach bum, the way he is. Bro, is it something I said? You took the title away from him. I don't even think he would realize it if you think of the character. Why does he need a belt? He's brain dead. Right. He's more, honestly, I think he'd be, in storyline, I think he'd be more pissed off if you took his scooter away from him than his title. You don't need that freaking belt.
That's the way that they've developed them. So, yeah. No, you're right.
They don't need that belt. By the way, shout out to everybody who's tuning in live. Much love as always. This is Breakfast Soup Raw for March 22nd, 2021. I am Don Tony, and he is Mish. And we will be up here giving you pretty much a Raw recap. Couple of news tidbits as well. For those that aren't aware, yes, last week we talked about the passing of Barry O. And, as I explained over the weekend, WWE was not going to make mention to it on TV. It's not only, I understand he's a relative of Randy Orton's, but the fact that he really was never a big star in WWE, but not just that, there was a lot of controversy around him way back when, and especially the fact that Tom Cole recently died. They're not going to name drop Barry O anytime soon. But some of you may not be aware of this. The other son of the Sheik, back last year in October, I think his son Tom died at 59 years old, and this time around Ed Farhat Jr. died, I believe he was 71. So, he looks out of shape in this picture, but he actually got himself in better shape over the years. So I just wanted to make mention of it because he died today, yesterday or today, and it was complications from COVID. It was complications from COVID. And I swear on God, I was not going to use his passing to segue into something else. But since we just brought up the topic of COVID, I really need to get this off my chest. I don't know if you're aware of it. I know a lot of you out there aren't aware of it yet. If you tuned in to Friday's Don Tony show, I addressed all of those dumb rumors last week that Charlotte was taken off the WrestleMania banner because Andrade requested his release because she's doing movies and this and that. And we got on the topic of COVID. And I said, I am not going to speculate, and I'm not going to mention any names that have COVID. I don't ever do this. I will not mention anybody's names who tested positive for COVID unless they themselves want to come public or if WWE mentions something about it. That's why we didn't bring up Drew at the time. That's why we didn't bring up others. Well, we found out today, and once again, all of those bullshit, horrendous reports last week was nothing, once again, but a lie. Charlotte Flair got hit with COVID about a week ago. Charlotte Flair is recovering from COVID. That is why she is currently off WrestleMania. And, without going too far ahead, Rhea Ripley showed up on Raw tonight, as we told you was going to happen. She challenged Asuka for the Women's Championship at WrestleMania. Asuka did accept. And if Charlotte is able to return and she is in good health, and think of Drew McIntyre. Drew McIntyre was able to return to have his match with Goldberg 3 weeks after COVID. No reason why Charlotte can't either. So if Charlotte is able to return, don't be surprised if Charlotte is added to this match. But, what really angered me today, and by the way, if Mr. Mike is tuning in, Mr. Mike, my remark on Twitter had nothing to do with you. If you actually look at my comment on Twitter, I wrote that before what you wrote on Twitter. But that you blocked me, and honestly, I could care less who blocks me. But
what?
That just shows me once again why, I'd rather have the conversations here on the shows, not on social media, because social media is just a cesspool. But this is what pisses me off. Remember the formula I talked about with suicide? Oh, we got to be better. We should all get along. We should stop making fun of each other. Stop bullying. Stop this, stop that. We're better than each other. And then you get all the tweet fucks from that, get all the likes. And then as it calms down, it's right back to the insults masqueraded by jokes. It's a formula. It's a sick formula that people do every so often. Now, COVID is another example of it. For the last 14 to 15 months, we have had in the United States over 500,000 people die from COVID. People that I know, people that you know, people that know our friends and family tuning into the show. Some people that actually enjoyed the show died from COVID. And for the last 14 months, everybody and their mother on social media, COVID, serious comments. This is no joke. Pray, serious. My God, it hurts everybody physically, emotionally, financially. It gets you sick. This is no joke. Our thoughts, our prayers, we all got to be together. But because Charlotte Flair gets COVID and people don't like Charlotte Flair, I'm sorry for upsetting those who are legitimately diagnosed with this, but this is the only way I could describe it. These bottom of the barrel, low life, bipolar pieces of shit on social media, after 14 months of all their serious bullshit about COVID, to have the audacity to even publicly insinuate that Charlotte is lying about getting COVID. Nobody on this fucking earth should ever lie about something as serious as that. And I don't think that Charlotte Flair is lying about getting diagnosed with COVID. But I saw that over and over and over. And I do blame a lot of websites last week because of the bullshit that they reported about Charlotte being taken off the banner. So now people, they paint the picture. But for the people out there to even make light of the fact that she got hit with COVID, I'm sorry. You're dirtbags, you're pieces of shit, and most likely it doesn't pertain to anybody tuning into the show.
You shouldn't even be surprised. What was it, last week that people were going after Brody Lee's widow and his kid, saying that AEW was exploiting Brody Lee's death by having his kid on Dynamite and stuff like that? Like,
there's something wrong with people, man.
Ridiculous. Look, dude, I'm not a huge fan of AEW, but there's no way in hell that I think that any of those guys had nothing but love for Brody Lee and his family. Like there's nothing that anybody's ever said. There's no idea. There's not even an iota of truth behind that. But that still didn't stop people from going after his widow. That still didn't stop people from going
It's
after
fucking disgusting.
So, I mean, the idea that people think that Charlotte's lying about having COVID, it's the same vein of the people that are blaming AEW, saying that they're exploiting Brody Lee Jr. I think it's I don't know. I don't know the mentality behind that. I don't understand.
I don't get it. I just don't get it. Yeah, Chris, I'm sorry for using the bipolar reference. And let me make this clear. The only reason why I bring that up is because I know people who have been diagnosed with bipolar syndrome. All right. Way back when, I was, somebody accused me of being it. And that's when I started to learn what it was about. But you look at the personality disorders of a lot of these people online. I can't describe it any other way other than just an absolute sickness. And I feel bad for anybody out there who's been struck with that, who is dealing with that. It's no joke. But these people online, this personality, it's a sickness. And seeing all that garbage about the Charlotte stuff, I'm telling you, I'm sorry. I mean, thank God 99.9% of everybody tuning in, this does not pertain to. All right. And I understand all of the bullshit reports that were reported last week about Charlotte that was a lie. I understand why it would cast some doubt in some people's eyes. I'm not faulting those people, but for the others out there, simply because they don't like Charlotte, use that like, oh, that's the excuse why she's off Mania right now. That's the excuse because of the Andrade situation. That's the excuse that she's just staying home. These are sick fucking people. This is sick shit. I wish Charlotte Flair nothing but the best. I hope she can come back in time for WrestleMania. And I hope maybe a week before WrestleMania, she could show up, confront Rhea Ripley and Asuka, point to the fucking sign, and have the three-way. In fact, I wouldn't even mind if she showed up at WrestleMania as a surprise and challenged both of them to make it a three-way. In fact, if she is well enough to compete, I will make that prediction because honestly, and I'm sorry for tooting our own horns, all those websites saying that the WrestleMania script was ripped up to pieces by Vince a month ago, we obviously got the wrong script because every match, other than the surprise of Bobby Lashley winning, and we didn't know what was happening with the tag belts, let's be honest, with Raw. But everything else has happened pretty much what we expect. We talked about Roman Reigns versus Daniel Bryan versus Edge 4 weeks ago. 4 weeks ago. That was something that they were considering. It wasn't thrown up all in the air. We talked about Retribution splitting up before Mania. I don't see anything that's really changed gears. They made The Miz versus Bad Bunny official today. And we said for the last 4 to 6 weeks, it was either going to be one-on-one or it was going to be a tag match. And it was all going to come down to if Bad Bunny is ready enough to do a one-on-one. After training at the Performance Center, and trust me, we're not fans of Bad Bunny's music. But you and I have said this pretty much since day one. If you could have a celebrity, it's probably the type of celebrity you want. Someone who's a lifelong wrestling fan. Someone who's showing up week after week after week after week that doesn't need this. Right. That is training his goddamn ass off, training probably as hard as any celebrity that's ever competed at Mania, with the exception of maybe Lawrence Taylor. This guy is taking this shit seriously. And they feel comfortable enough that he could, hold his own in a match with Miz. Right. So, I don't think, look, I think WrestleMania overall, are you excited as years passed? Honestly? Are you really excited?
In one sense I am, because it would be nice to get back to some sort of normalcy. So, I mean, the effect of what this WrestleMania potentially means. Now, don't get me wrong. There's some odd things going around. WrestleMania this year, obviously they're only going to have, what is the max? 25,000 is what they're looking at a Ridgeway Stadium.
As of right now, it's 25,000. And once they have all the pods set up,
7,000, was it 7,000 or 9,000 medical or elite workers? Is that what it is?
Quite a few. Some are provided from the government.
7,000, right? They're giving away like 7,000 or 9,000 tickets to first responders and stuff like that. So, which is really nice. It's very altruistic of them. So good for that. But it's going to be nice to be able to see WrestleMania with people in it again.
Yeah,
I think last year's WrestleMania was painful. It was painful on a lot of levels, and it didn't feel like WrestleMania. And in the middle of everything that was going on, it wasn't a good time for it, to the point where not just me and you discussing it, but it seemed like everybody was discussing the idea of potentially a canceled WrestleMania.
Right.
And, obviously in hindsight, we're not sure if that would have been the best thing or the worst thing. But when you're looking at it today, when you're looking at having WrestleMania with people back in it, there's kind of a glimmer of hope. So no, is this going to be the greatest WrestleMania of all time? No, it's not. But I think it'll be refreshing to see a large event involving WWE being WrestleMania with people in it again.
Yeah. And we're getting 2 nights. So even if you take 2-3 matches from each night that you really enjoyed, you put it together, you get 6 decent matches. You look at WrestleManias from years past. Every so often people say to me or say to you, what's our favorite WrestleManias? What's some of your favorite WrestleMania matches? Like, we'll use Hogan versus The Rock because they showed clips of that tonight. You look at that WrestleMania, you don't think of too many other matches. You might think of one at the most. Most WrestleManias, you think of WrestleMania 3, and pretty much everybody remembers Hogan Andre or Macho Man Ricky Steamboat. So when you look at the history of WrestleMania, there's usually just a couple of matches that everybody remembers. And everything else, oh yeah, I kind of remember that, but it's not something that you would just put on repeat and watch over and over again. We get 4, 5, 6 excellent matches. I think overall it'll be a successful Mania. Having the live fans back is a tease of what we will have by June, July, maybe August at the latest, as far as having fans on a weekly basis again. I said this the last 2 shows. I know you weren't on with me, but I don't know if you feel this way also. And I'm sorry for repeating if anybody's tuned in for those shows. But I truly believe that the energy that we will have at WrestleMania will mirror the energy when WWE first went to Saudi Arabia. You have those Saudi fans that always dreamed of having WWE in their front porch. And they finally got it on, a couple of shows a year. When they first came there, they were loud. They cheered for everybody. Energy. And I think that energy this time around, it's not going to matter who goes out there. Fans are just going to, I'm telling you.
It's splitting that up over 5 days. Look, TakeOver's 2 days, the Hall of Fame is another day, and then we got 2 days of WrestleMania. I like to believe that WWE is going to be able to keep up that energy and the fans that are going to be in attendance, because let's be honest, most people, if they're going to WrestleMania, they're probably going for both days. I don't see somebody just buying one ticket for one day and then I mean, it could be, fuck if I know, but I would just assume naturally that people are spending the money on 2 days. And some of those people that are just spending it on 2 days, there's going to be a lot more people spending it on TakeOver as well as the Hall of Fame, trying to get into the Hall of Fame too. So you're talking about not the energy of one Saudi show. You're talking about that one Saudi show energy split up over 5 days.
Yes.
I hope by that last day of WrestleMania, people aren't just falling out. People aren't just falling asleep, because that would be the worst.
Yeah, that's not happening. Dead people are going to be so happy just to feel for a brief moment. And look, it's going to be rough for all of us watching from home, because the Raw after WrestleMania for the last bunch of years has always been, in some cases, almost as fun as the WrestleMania event itself. And we're not going to have live fans for the Raw after Mania. So that's something like right after we're going to be like, oh man, I'm already missing fans. You know what I mean? Like, right. But again, that'll take about another month or two. We got to get more people vaccinated. The quicker people get vaccinated, the quicker we could get this shit out of here, you know. And keep this in mind also. A lot of people don't realize this. Other than WrestleMania, you know, the Tampa Bay Rays, you know, we got Major League Baseball back. And the Tampa Bay Rays, who play games at Raymond James Stadium, their first home game is April 9th. You know what I mean? So they're going to be back in that stadium. So WWE is going to be out of that stadium after April 9th, you know, as far as on a regular basis. Now, they're looking at, what's the name of the stadium? I wrote it down before. Yuengling, I believe it is, where the University of South Florida, the Sun Dome, I know some of you in Florida are aware of that. Social Mix just brought that up also. Tropicana Field, excuse me. You're right, Scorpio. Tropicana Field. But WWE's going to be at Raymond James Stadium, but Tropicana Field is where they have Raws. So Raymond James Stadium is just for 2 events and out of there, but Tropicana Field, that's gone. Tampa Bay Rays are going to be back. So, you know, they're going to move. And I'm curious if they move within a week or two. Don't be surprised if you see them allowing some fans to go to this Yuengling Center. So let's see what happens. I think, you know, as the matches start getting put together, you know, I think this is definitely a big upgrade from a year ago. I think it's a big upgrade. Now, the big question is, do you think Randy Orton and The Fiend are going to have a cinematic match at Mania? Because for those, you know, we don't have to get into Fastlane. You did your recap. I did my recap yesterday also. I mean, you know, The Fiend made his return. And tonight, and it was funny because I had posted on Twitter earlier today, you know, if I get burned alive and I get revenge on that person, and my revenge is only hitting one sister, Abigail, light me on fire again. And then we saw what we saw on Raw today, which was funny. But I tell you, I have to know this because I was watching on my computer as I was preparing for the show. Here's my question for all of you out there. Was The Fiend holding a microphone? It looked like The Fiend was holding a microphone. Was he? Because I obviously didn't say anything, but seeing Alexa Bliss pointing at Mania and The Fiend standing there like one of those garbage pail kids with his outfit, and I'm not saying the outfit is bad. It looks exactly the way it should have looked being burned alive. But to see them pointing at WrestleMania or Alexa Bliss for The Fiend, why would The Fiend, you know what I mean? It's just, like, we knew they were going to have a Mania match, but I thought that was a pretty pathetic way to set up their match. I could picture Randy Orton making the challenge or something, but for The Fiend and Alexa Bliss to point at the Mania sign, like, why would The Fiend want to be at Mania?
It's campy, dude. That's the whole thing, is that people are taking this way too fucking seriously. It's a campy storyline. You're supposed to enjoy it and laugh with it. You're an adult, right, DT? Last time you checked, you're an adult?
Yes.
And most of the people in our chat room are adults. I mean, they might act like kids, but a lot of them are adults, right? Over 18, probably, you know, mature. So why in the fuck is everybody mad that they're not scared by Bray Wyatt? Why is everybody mad that this storyline isn't pulling them in? Like,
it's sci-fi, not horror.
Whatever you want to call it, dude. It's fucking fantasy. It's not real.
Right.
So why are people like, oh my God, dude? I laughed my ass off yesterday when people were upset that Randy Orton and Alexa Bliss didn't have a proper match yesterday. And then there were other people that were flipping
on.
out at the fact that, oh my God, how can WWE book a match like this? Randy Orton's going to hit a girl?
It wasn't, dude. I don't know if you noticed, but every match for NWA and every match last night predicted everyone right. Down to Edge screwing Daniel Bryan over, down to The Fiend basically getting the win for Alexa Bliss. And by the way, I saw all those memes today. And look, I didn't think it was that big of a deal that Alexa Bliss was sitting on Randy Orton's tummy. But right away, the people with the fantasy thinking that Alexa Bliss was sitting on his penis or something. But I will admit, out of all the memes,
funny though. That's what I'm saying. Is like the people that were at least making the jokes were at least having a good time.
Yeah, we're having a good time like this.
Right, but it's the people that are analyzing this and going, "Oh my God, how could WWE do this? Worst storyline ever." Whatever, man. It's just, yeah. Okay,
I'm enjoying. I'm
enjoying
enjoying this.
I don't like to take everything so damn seriously.
Exactly. But you just look at the monster himself, and to see them looking at the WrestleMania sign, you know, it was I could see if Bray Wyatt from the Firefly Funhouse making the challenge, because remember, the Fiend got burned alive, but Bray Wyatt didn't. So if he would have showed up on the screen, I would have been perfectly fine with it. And I tell you, they should have done a little hocus pocus with the editing. They could have had the Fiend standing in the ring with Alexa Bliss like they did tonight, and then they could have had the Titantron go on and have Bray Wyatt on the Titantron in a pre-recorded segment, and have Bray Wyatt issue the challenge for Randy Orton against the Fiend at WrestleMania. And then the Fiend could just, one segment is pre-recorded and one isn't. But look, I don't mind it. I said last year, a lot of people still don't like that. The Fiend versus John Cena, I enjoyed that this much more than AJ Styles versus Undertaker. Undertaker for nostalgic purposes and for memories, but I liked Cena versus Wyatt more for the simple reason of all the mind games. The whole match was like a trip, like tripping somebody out with their mind. So, but well,
dude, if it goes to a cinematic match, I hope that's where it goes. The cinematic matches fit Bray Wyatt. He's had a few of them now. Some that are even forgotten, like the Wyatt family versus New Day, which was an amazing cinematic match way back in the day on SmackDown. But yeah, it's going to fit. You're going to have this kind of a character. You're going to throw Alexa Bliss in there. They're going to do their little hocus pocus and fireballs and witchcraft. And Randy Orton is going to be he's going to be Bruce Campbell. He's going to be Ash in Army of Darkness. That's what it's going to be. And I don't know. I'm okay with it. Look, I'm fine with a nice schlock, campy wrestling angle. It's fine by me. People that are really upset by this, then you know what? When Bray Wyatt and Randy Orton happens at WrestleMania, go take a leak. Because right now, according to Peacock, there's not going to be any pause or rewind or fast forward.
That'll be fixed.
So you better hope, because if not, there's going to be a lot of unhappy people. Nobody's going to sit there for 6 hours and not take a piss, DT.
You know what? That's not that big of a deal, man. That's not that big of a deal. I was joking yesterday about it. I put this up there. I mean, come on, man. WrestleMania's been on since the 80s. And you remember this. Sorry, Joe, I got to take your thing down for a second. Come on. We went through Viewer's Choice, VCRs, VHSs. There were no pause.
Yes, there was. They had intermissions. Absolutely.
Well, they had an intermission, but still, I mean, couldn't rewind. If you tuned in and you were a half hour late, oh well, you're gonna have to watch the replay and see it back.
Right. Well, yeah, but then you don't want to. Why would you go backwards with technology instead of forwards?
No, but I'm just saying it's not the end of the world.
No, I'm not saying it's the end of the world. I'm saying it's not going to be a good look though, if that's the direction for Peacock.
Yeah.
I'm just saying. Sorry, I don't like it.
They'll get that all tweaked. It's live stuff, and they're simulcasting, so it is what it is. If people really don't want it, get a VPN, block your IP address, and then just use the WWE network like before.
No, fair enough.
Easy solution. Joe punches. After watching the Stone Cold sessions with Orton, Orton knows he is boring us. I watched half of it yesterday. I didn't watch the other half yet. I'm glad
I gotta watch them.
I tell you,
I haven't seen them yet. I gotta watch it. Yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
I'm glad I didn't turn it off 5 minutes in. 5 minutes in, Steve Austin says to Randy Orton, he thinks that Randy Orton is doing the best stuff in his entire career right now. And I almost turned it off. Because I understand Steve Austin, not being the edgy, podcast host like he was before. But this, footsie stuff is just a little too much. But I stuck it out and I watched half of it. And I tell you, I loved almost everything. And Randy Orton, you got to give him all the credit and the respect in the world. He just put it out there, was not embarrassed. He might have been embarrassed for some of the things, but didn't hold back and spoke out about everything. So definitely, and some people have said to me, because I mentioned yesterday, I only watched half of it so far. Some people have emailed me since yesterday and said it's the favorite Smoking Skull session that Steve Austin has done to date.
Good, I'm glad to hear that.
Yeah.
So we know that Randy Orton isn't. There's a lot of complaints about Randy Orton's promos or Randy Orton's matches. And over the years, I've made a few complaints myself. But when you compare it to this storyline, which it seems like there's a lot of people that really dislike this whole storyline, I kind of agree with Austin. If that's what he said, this Bray Wyatt storyline, him hamming it up, him being a complete fucking ham is some of the funniest shit I've seen in WWE in ever. Because it's so corny. And he plays it so seriously. That man knows how to fucking stone cold a face. He really can. He's good at it. And it's funny. It's because it's like times that I would have busted out laughing, like trying to take Alexa Bliss seriously or Bray Wyatt seriously. And this guy he's good. He's fucking pro. I love it. I don't know, man. Maybe I see things differently than other people. Other people probably like, oh, you're fucking crazy. Whatever.
I think Alexa Bliss, I'm with Brandon Jones, but I think Alexa Bliss is doing the best stuff of her career. Not even close. Not even close.
Yeah, no, this is definitely, you know what? She fits into the entitled little Hot Topic chickie. She does a good job of that with the Rey Mysterio contacts and everything. I'm down with it. This is a lot better than Bailey, This Is Your Life.
Oh my God.
20-minute long abortion of a segment. You know?
What a big difference for both of them. Yeah. I vowed to never watch that segment again. But I tell you, now I'm tempted to watch it again. And because I think we would, even if we remember it, I think it reminds us how far, not only Alexa Bliss, but how far Bailey has come since then. I mean, it's incredible. I think Alexa Bliss, you got to give her a crazy, not everybody has to have a 4-star match in the ring. Not everybody does their part. No, it's entertainment.
She's doing a great job at this. Look, I'm not an Alexa Bliss fan. I think a lot of her work before this whole Bray Wyatt connection was pretty boring and pretty subpar. But as far as this character, for whatever reason, she's gone all in on this character, and she's doing a good job herself. She really
Darren,
is. She's completely turned the coin.
Darren, when you say how is Alexa benefiting the women's division, why does every person on the WWE roster have to be labeled to a division? It should just be a character. You're watching World Wrestling Entertainment, and you're watching superstars. You're not watching the men's division and the women's division.
Are you trying to kill me?
Yeah, I mean, seriously. She is a character who happens to be a woman. Bray Wyatt is a character who happens to be a man. Bray Wyatt never needed the heavyweight title. The reason why people were batshit about it, including me, is because they made him lose it to Goldberg. And they made this monster look like a goof. It's not about divisions or belts. She is a great character for television. I don't know, man. I don't know. We were talking about COVID before. Once again, much love the AS7607. She is recovering from COVID. 2 weeks ago, live on the show, she was in the hospital. And, shortly after my show was over, her doctors were telling her that she got COVID. And she's got 5 relatives, I almost said wrestlers, 5 relatives battling COVID. And it's no joke, man. It's no joke. That's why I say, look, most of the people on social media, I just block out. I don't follow many people. It's not to be an asshole. But, it just, you get drawn in to that negative shit. Okay, we understand you don't like Charlotte Flair. But to have the audacity to, someone who is legit, whether you like the person or not, the person is battling COVID-19. And it's not straight up a guarantee that she recovers in 10 days just like everyone else does. Some people have some breathing issues after that. Some people have shortness of breath that could linger for months. You don't know. Everybody is different. There's been some extreme cases of people getting very, very ill at a very young age. Thank God now there's a lot more treatments than there was a year ago. But the thing is that, come on, out of everything you don't take lightly, COVID should be number 1 on the list. My biggest enemy, I wouldn't wish COVID on. And I guarantee you, even if my biggest enemy caught COVID, and even if in the privacy of my own home with the cameras off and the microphones off and nobody in the house, I'm in my house going, I'm not fucking putting it on a computer screen, and I'm not fucking like diminishing it. Because guess what? If I laugh like that, even though nobody hears it, and I get hit with COVID, or my mother gets hit with COVID, or anybody else, guess what? I'm not laughing anymore. That's why I don't wish it on my biggest enemy. COVID has killed over 500,000 people in this country. And I don't care who you like or dislike. You do not fucking diminish this. Because I saw the emails that AS7607 sent me. I don't want to say her name publicly, but, she was scared shit. And, she's not, an old person or anything like that. She's not elderly. But, you get hit with that. John Krauser, you friend of the family, he was scared shit about getting it. You remember how old is he, 30? So COVID is one of those topics you do not joke about. If you feel that much angst for Charlotte Flair, say it to yourself. Say it in the privacy of your own home. But to actually write it on social media, I mean, that's disgusting. And it's not even bipolar. It's not even bipolar. I take that back earlier. Chris and everybody, I apologize for that. These are just sick individuals. I don't know what they're trying to get out of it. Is this their way of trying to give the ultimate fuck you to Charlotte, hoping to God that Charlotte happens to go on social media and sees their tweet, and they think in a fantasy world that Charlotte somewhere is crying, just like they would bully Lana to death? Did they get enjoyment to see Lana on the WWE 24? Because people accuse Lana of acting also. Those tears were crocodile tears in a lot of people's eyes. These are very sick people out there.
Cynical.
Very sick people out there. Very sick people out there. Joe Punches says it perfectly. Fiend and Orton is very old school campy. It's got a little Papa Shango in it.
It's got a lot of little things in it. It's literally an 80s. It's like different takes from an 80s horror flick. I mean, it's fun. It's fun. Can we have fun still?
Yes.
Can we watch wrestling and have fun?
Yes.
Can everything not be fucking scrutinized down to this minuscule levels of nitpicking and science?
Yes.
Like, I understand that there's a craft behind wrestling. Of course there is. We've been talking about it for over 11 fucking years. You for 20 plus fucking years. We understand this. The fans that are still watching wrestling, that have been watching wrestling longer than a fucking year or two, understand this. And even the ones that have only been watching it for a year or two understand this. Why is there no room to have fun anymore? Why is it when something is blatantly surreal and not realistic in any kind of feasible sense as far as the story goes, there's no belt on the line? There's no prestige here. It's a storyline about a guy who's been burnt up, coming back to life, and is a little hot topic witchy. That's what it is. And they're screwing with Randy Orton. I don't know why everything has to be so damn fucking serious.
I remember when Undertaker was throwing lightning bolts, and I don't remember people bitching and complaining in the message boards. We did the lightning bolts. He's not really throwing lightning bolts.
Just like Mae Young gave birth to an actual hand, right? that actually happened. You know?
So fly. Yep. Shane said tonight, I'm going to beat you because brains always beats brawn. Not in the case at WrestleMania, but this was the storyline. We said it a couple of weeks ago. Dumb Braun is not going to be dumb. He's going to beat Shane at his own game. Yeah. Braun Strowman will end up outsmarting Shane McMahon. Outsmarting. In fact, Braun Strowman might end up coming up with some stipulation where Shane McMahon has to have both hands tied behind his back and blindfolded and this and that. It could end up being something ridiculously goofy. But in the end, Braun Strowman is not a stupid person. He's not. But the stereotype, you know, big person, little, what do Roddy Piper say? Little itty bitty brain, you know?
Dude, I would be... So I'm definitely one of those people that believed Braun Strowman should have been Big Dumb Monster. I was, and still am. I still like the idea of Braun Strowman, big, dumb, unstoppable monster. But the problem is they don't make him unstoppable. So giving him the stupid gimmick doesn't work at all either. You know what I mean?
When I see the chat room getting very, very, like, quiet, I'm going to throw that shit out there. That replaces the ho-ho-ho. Ken Termy by DQ wants a plug. I guess Joey Numbers was on Rocked, and they were ranking Pantera albums.
Yeah, I did that this weekend.
Very cool.
Himself and Luke got together and did some rankings of Pantera albums from their glam rock days to, you know, the very end of their sessions and stuff like that. And it was a really good show.
Nice, man.
You can
Crazy
check it
Cruiserweight,
out
thank you. Yeah. Thank you, Cruiserweight. Main event results. Drew Gulak over Akira Tozawa. Angel Garza over Grand Metalik. Angel Garza getting the win. You know, look, Mish and I, over the last 2 weeks, have talked about Andrade a few times. Yeah. And I guess we should bring it up one last time right now for at least 90 days. You know, after 90 days, we'll probably have to talk about it again. Andrade, 2 weeks ago, requested his release from WWE. Mish and I had our thoughts about that. And WWE granted his release over the weekend. Andrade posted a social media comment today. He thanked Triple H, William Regal, and I don't know the third, but was the third person Adam Pearce? Does anybody remember? But he thanked those three, and he also gave a shout-out to the whole roster that were very, very nice to him. I know Zelina Vega wrote some very kind words to him today. But he is officially released from WWE. Now, I said yesterday, and I brought it up last week too, for me, I think Angel Garza has been hurt the most out of this. Because Andrade, you look over his tenure on TV, he actually, you know, he may not have gone as far as some people thought he was going to go, but he had enough matches on TV, a chance to really, you know, get over. I think the problem is, once again, you know, sometimes, especially for men, you have an international star that is lacking in the English department. And then the stereotype is he comes in there and has someone else being the voice for him. That is always something that will be lacking. He can never beat someone up with his voice. That's what Charlotte could do. That's why I always put Charlotte this much higher than Asuka. Charlotte cuts a promo, and Charlotte could make you feel like absolute shit after she's done telling you why you suck and she's the best. Andrade couldn't do that. He had to stand there. I'm going to beat you up. I mean, unfortunately, Zelina Vega, who's beautiful to look at, and she backed it up a little bit, she's gone. You know what I mean? They weren't going to pair Andrade with Charlotte. That wasn't going to happen. Not everybody works out. To me, I think what it comes down to is World Wrestling entertainment. The entertainment value for Andrade was not enough simply because he had great matches in the ring. Right. Fans didn't connect. And I mentioned this yesterday too, Mish. Got to admit it. A lot of people last year, during the first 6 months of COVID, Andrade, Angel Garza, and Zelina Vega was all over our goddamn TVs on Raw. They sometimes wrestled 2, maybe even 3 times split up during Raw. They were all over TV for months. And I saw countless people on social media last year saying, I'm sick of Andrade. I get him off my TV. He does nothing. Other than looking at Zelina Vega, there's nothing about Andrade I like. Get him off TV. That's all I read from like the very loud, outspoken, and then he asked for his release. And those same people that a year ago said, get him off my TV, now suddenly care? Am I missing something?
Yeah, because now it fits the narrative of he might go to their favorite company because they're just that level of markdom that, you know, instead of actually thinking about what the guy's career was in WWE, instead of thinking about the fact that he's probably living or at least making a comfortable salary, even through all of that, the only thing that they care about is that they can say that they were right.
Good point. Excellent point, man. Excellent point. We're going to fill in the blanks with Raw, but AS, she says she heard that WWE removed Batista's Hall of Fame announcement from the website. Okay. Yeah, we could get into this a little bit. Eric Bischoff was added to the Hall of Fame, mentioned it briefly on Friday. I love it. I remember, you know, loving NWO. I don't care he copied it from Japan. He was smart. He was smart. Plain and simple. He was smart. Eric Bischoff, yes, he tried to put his competitor out of business, but he did a boatload for wrestling. And I tell you, looking back at the fact that the NWO technically is in the Hall of Fame also this year because of last year, it kind of made sense. I remember last year you and I saying that Bischoff should be in the Hall of Fame with the NWO. Yeah. I mean, it's obviously not the way we planned it, but I think Bischoff should have went in with the NWO. Put them all in together. So he gets to go in this year, albeit, you know, for 2021 instead of 2020. But the thing with Batista, what do you think's going on with that? Because I've heard 3 different things. I heard schedule conflict, but there's nothing stopping him from doing a pre-recorded segment. Second thing I'm hearing is that he had a big falling out with WWE. Some of it, and look, I don't want to put words in Batista's mouth, and I don't like doing this, but I heard from 2 very reliable people that Batista's, this might sound far-fetched, everyone, but I'm just telling you what I was told. Do not take it as news. I'm saying, do not take it as news. But it kind of makes sense. Batista was so livid about President Trump and Linda McMahon and Vince McMahon and some of the companies' just allegiance to President Trump. And after what happened January 6th, blaming it on President Trump. And look, I'm not taking sides here. I'm just telling you what people have said to me, that Batista is the one that told WWE, withdraw my Hall of Fame. I don't know if it's true. And to be honest with you, if I contact some people that I can contact, I don't even know if they would want to be responsible to give that answer. I think that Batista, the fact that he's saying nothing says a lot. Because if it was just simply a scheduling issue or some type of logistics problem, Batista would go on social media and just say a couple of words and remove the controversy completely. But at the same token, if he is on, angry at WWE at the moment, he's also a very smart person, knowing that, he may need or may want to do business with WWE in the future. Maybe, calmer things happen down the line. So he's not going to throw WWE under the bus either. But what do you think about that possibility that Batista requested to be pulled from the Hall of Fame because of the McMahons and others' allegiance to Trump? Because Batista hates Trump with a passion. I mean, absolutely despises this man. What do you think?
What's his narrative, man? I mean, Batista's bigger than wrestling. Can we admit that Batista's career right now in Hollywood and everything else like that is bigger than wrestling? He doesn't need WWE anymore. And while in some regards, a lot of fans, I'm sure, feel that Batista owes the fans something, and him getting recognized by the WWE Hall of Fame is something that, gives him that moment to recollect on his career. But politics is an ugly thing. Have we not discovered this yet, people? That people's political agendas are very can range from topical to scathing. So the idea that Batista might be a guy who has deep-rooted beliefs against Trump and Vince and Linda's campaign and connections to Trump is something that might upset him, then yeah, it could very well be politics. It doesn't sound like it couldn't be politics. Is there any other reason on the table that Batista wouldn't show up to the Hall of Fame? Like, okay, let's just play fucking devil's advocate. Let's say it isn't politics. Let's say the rumor is wrong and it's something else. What else could it be? Scheduling conflict? You said that. What is he currently doing right now? He's not working on 3, is he? Guardians of the Galaxy 3?
Not that I'm aware of.
Right. So, okay, so then it's not that. What else could it possibly be? So, I mean, when you start weighing this out and you can't come up with answers and, the most, what is it, what is the rule? The most possible or the most likely is once you eliminate the impossible, only the possible is left.
Yeah,
so
it
probably is a political agenda. It's probably political hurt feelings, and maybe he feels that WWE is a company that he doesn't want to associate with in 2021.
Yeah. Well, like I said, everybody, this is something that I was told from 2 different people that, don't normally communicate with each other. And, the more I thought about it, I said, that actually does make sense. And hell, the info I got about the tickets, the Ticketmaster stuff last week, the gift cards. I mean, we go down the line. Everything that we've talked about for the last 6 months, when we actually do some research and contact people, we seem to be getting the correct information. So, I hope, I mean, this will never get back to Batista, but I hope for the wrestling fans' sake more than anything else, because we're still in COVID, because COVID has devastated everybody out there, you, me, everybody. Some physically, some emotionally, some financially, some a combination thereof, some indirectly. COVID has hurt every one of us out there. And if there is no controversy around Batista being removed from there, then I think he should. I know this sounds selfish, but I think he owes it to the fans to at least say, look, I don't want anybody to think, but I'm in Japan right now. I'm here and I could be there, and I'm sorry, and leave it at that. But the fact that this has been developing for the last week and a half, and suddenly he lost his record button on his iPhone because everything about Trump, every other day, this guy's posting a 45-second video telling everybody, don't vote for this guy, don't vote for this piece of shit. This guy recorded more than we've done shows on video.
Right.
Now, all of a sudden, his iPhone video doesn't work. So I think he should clear this up if there is no controversy.
Yeah, But I mean, at the end of the day, it's his prerogative.
Oh yeah, sure.
Do you think that? Okay, and I mean, this is just speculation. Do you think he even cares? Do you think he actually cares? Like, now I'm not saying about the payday or anything else like that. Do you think being recognized by the WWE does anything for him?
I think it does, because wrestling is what gave him the opportunity to go further in the entertainment world and in life. And wrestling is a very big part of his life and the wrestling fans itself. And I think Batista, look, I met Batista. I was part of running the autograph signing that he did here in Howard Beach, Queens. I mean, obviously that was, 20 years ago, but he was mad cool. He was extremely cool. And, he comes off as a really likable person, whether you Democrat or Republican, it doesn't matter. But, this seems like there is some really raw, no pun intended, issues going on with him in WWE. And if it's not the case, I think he should dispel that. Because look at the Charlotte stuff. I mean, I don't want to start bringing COVID into this also, but look at the Charlotte stuff. I understand why some of you out there may have had a little doubt about her with the COVID because of the garbage that you were fed last week, that she was removed from the poster because she gave WWE an ultimatum, release Andrade or I quit. Well, fuck, where do you get that from? You know what I mean? Like, people got fed so much shit about Charlotte last week that now COVID gets announced. Oh, yeah. Oh, okay. After all of this, yeah, sure. I understand. So, I don't think Batista should leave it quiet, because you could have all these websites trying to guess the answer, and they're going to guess wrong, probably, and they're going to cause more damage than I even think Batista would cause damage.
Fair enough.
So yeah. We'll see. We'll see. Special shout out to Aaron Hernandez. Not that Aaron Hernandez. Enjoying the show. That's a tragedy what happened to Aaron Hernandez. Seriously. I don't want to ask Aaron, but I'm sure you probably have gotten that over, if that is even your name. But, man, that was a tragedy what happened to Aaron Hernandez. Man. AH. Shout out to AH. Much love, my friend. Hope you're enjoying the show. I think you are, because you super chatted it. So much love.
Thank you.
Much love. Joe Punches, it's the Braun Show. The Braun Show. Look, he came back from injury too late. Look, we have WrestleMania pretty much set. We'll get you in somewhere. How's about doing something with Shane? Oh, I'd love to do something with Shane, And that's how this came about. I think Braun is having fun. I think Shane is having fun. Doesn't have to be rocket science. I think Braun Strowman understands Drew McIntyre deserves to be there after a year of being the COVID champion. Bobby Lashley's on crazy momentum. Oh, and I got to say something about tonight's Raw. We'll segue into that in a second. Tony Gloss, Randy should buy stuff from Omega Mart to help him. Okay. Omega Mart. Am I missing something with Omega Mart?
It's some kind of like art project. I thought at first he was talking about S-Mart from Army of Darkness, but no, Omega Mart, it's some kind of like, I don't know. I had to look it up. I don't even know. It's like a psychedelic grocery store is what it is.
Chaos. I said Aaron Hernandez was a tragedy. I didn't say I liked him, but it was a tragedy. It's a tragedy what happened. We'll never know the truth. If people want to come up with their own conclusion, just like Chris Benoit, just like a lot of people, you'll never know the truth. And usually the family tries to come up with a scenario to give them closure. I don't blame the Benoit family. I don't blame the Hernandez family. I don't blame any families out there who have had a loved one do something heinous, and they try to find a sane reason as to what pushed them over the edge. You want to blame it on, brain damage, concussions, chair shots. We'll never know the actual answer. But if it helps the family members sleep at night. You know, they weren't responsible for these tragedies. I mean, it sucks, you know, but, you know, you want some type of closure, you know. That's how I look at it. Shout out to Devin M. What's up, Devin? How you doing? Hope you're enjoying the show, my friend. So let's talk a little bit about Raw. Let's fill in the blanks.
All right.
I thought match quality was pretty damn good today. I thought Sheamus and Bobby Lashley had a great match. Miz and Jeff Hardy, but
the promo was good.
The promos were good. Drew,
the promo with Miz and Jomo tonight was fucking absolute fire. Absolute fucking fire. I was laughing my ass off. And then the sneak peek of them jumping around in fucking bunny outfits doing a fucking Latin rap. Dude, it was funny. It was fucking funny. I laughed at it. Asuka and Payton Royce were okay. It was okay. I don't see Payton Royce as this big mega female star that everybody else does. I just look at her and see a very average, complacent wrestler at best. You know,
I see someone who is trying awfully hard. Payton Royce has potential.
Give her a sticker.
I still think Payton Royce has room to grow. But just because you cut an emotionally frustrated, passionate promo on Raw Talk or Talkers, whatever the show was, you know, you got to back it up in the ring. And I'll be honest with you. I saw a promo 2 weeks ago. I'm sure some of it was a shoot, some of it was story. But the problem is, when you decide to say something like that, you better damn well be prepared to back it up. Because you're going in the ring with the greatest wrestler on WWE's roster or the second greatest wrestler. You have to know that the A game you're bringing actually is the A game in the ring and not what you think you could do. And that's the problem. You put that much eyes to yourself, and that was the problem always with Dana Brooke. You know, Dana Brooke,
Dana Brooke's issues and Payton Royce's issues are completely different.
No, but I'm saying with Dana Brooke's problem was she would nail one good move and get a win. And the win could be against a bug. And it's my time. I deserve this. I've been working for 10 years. It's my time. No, it's not your time. Unfortunately, just because, you know, like you said, you get a participation award or a trophy, or, you know, you get, you know, like just because you think it's your time doesn't mean that it's your time. With the case of Payton Royce, though, you know, she has it in here, but she's got to bring it in the ring. And I think, see, with Dana Brooke's biggest problem is timing.
Yeah.
That's her biggest problem. If you even look tonight with the stuff that was going on with Nia Jax and Shayna Baszler was outside the ring, the timing, she's that extra half a second to a second that it takes her to do stuff, it looks terrible. Payton Royce is not necessarily timing. It's just like when she gave that back kick to Asuka, honestly, I could have hit a newborn. And I think the newborn would just looked at me and went, what the fuck you doing? Like, she had no weight behind it whatsoever. Nothing. She could have hit.
It doesn't help that she looks like she's the same size as Riho. You know what I mean? I'm sorry.
Yeah.
She looks like a waif. She barely has any form or figure. You look at a girl like Camille from the NWA yesterday, and you try and compare that to somebody like Payton Royce and tell me which one looks more believable of a badass, you know, or believable in a match. Just saying. I think obviously all women are different, all physiques are different, everything else like that. I know that Payton Royce has a huge contingent of fans that want her to be the greatest women's wrestling champion ever in the history ever. I just don't see anything of worth. She really is the creator wrestler. She is not getting better. She's not giving me better promos. She's not doing anything different than she was doing for the last 11 years. She's just nothing. There's just nothing to her at all.
Put her back with Billie Kay.
Sure, why not? I don't like either of them. I think that they should go bye-bye. Both of them. I'm serious. There's so many other girls right now. There's so many other people that need to have focus put on them. You know, why are we wasting time with lost causes? You know, it's kind of like, I don't know. I think there's other women in NXT that should and could deliver better promos and deliver better matches. I think there's women on WWE that deliver better promos than Payton Royce and deliver better matches than Payton Royce that don't get focused on as much. So why are we wasting time with somebody who's subpar to begin with?
Yeah.
That's my attitude.
Well, Asuka beats Payton Royce tonight. Decent match, 11 minutes. She got enough time, Payton Royce, but like I said, you know, she thinks she can. She knows she can. And she kind of can. You know what I mean? And kind of can against Asuka is not enough.
Yeah.
She's got to, and, you know, maybe the lack of work is part of it, but the lack of work doesn't make a lot of those weak moves that weak, you know? So she put on an okay performance, but I don't think her stock has risen at all after this match she had with Asuka tonight. That might have been her shot. As ridiculous as that sounds, that might have been her shot. Maybe they put her back with Billie Kay. I think.
Well, what are you saying? Do you think that you can believe that there would be a 3-way or a 4-way potentially if Charlotte gets better, where it's going to be Asuka and Charlotte and Rhea Ripley and Payton Royce?
No. I could see Payton Royce reuniting with Billie Kay, and as I said on the predictions, that Nia and Shayna were going to retain, and Sonya Deville is going to make like a 4 or 5-way tag match, maybe even a gauntlet, and Lana and Naomi are going to be in there. Dana Brooke and Mandy Rose may be in there as well. Riot Squad may be in there. Tamina and Natty are definitely going to be in there. And who knows, maybe we'll get a surprise and the Iconics team back up. And you look at all those teams, nothing against Tamina or Natty, but of all those teams, I mean, the Iconics might actually get the biggest pop, as crazy as that sounds. Think of all those teams. I mean, Naomi would get a nice pop with Lana, but I think if the Iconics can't, you're iconic, I think those fans would pop, as crazy as that sounds. I wouldn't mind seeing it.
I hope at least people buy tickets to see them. I really do. I hope they're worth their pay.
Speaking of tag matches, you know, we got AJ and Omos taking on the New Day for the tag titles. And today, you know, that's Kofi beats AJ Styles. Before the match, they had a little comedy segment, basically doing similar what they did with Riddle and Pete Dunne. You know, how much do you know your partner? And we found out that Omos's favorite color is mauve.
Mauve, yeah.
Mauve. What's your favorite color?
I got some giggles out of that. That was okay.
Oh, I liked the before segment.
The idea that Omos is coming out of the shell too. He was very bantery with AJ tonight. Usually he's kind of stoic. But yeah, there you go. That's a great picture that you have. He laughed a little bit. He was definitely showing his human side, because so far for a long time, all we've seen was a very stoic Omos, which it wasn't a bad thing. Like, he smiled and stuff like that. But tonight, he really felt like he was in his casuals. He was in his civvies. I mean, I know he's a wrestler, and obviously they were talking about him debuting at WrestleMania, which is a big deal. But overall, Omos tonight was a superstar. He laughed, he emoted, he made connections with AJ on a charismatic level. He made connections with New Day on a charismatic level. It was good. It was a nice change. It was a breath of fresh air for his character to be able to be other things than just, I'm stoic bodyguard guy. So good. I'm glad. I like that version of him with AJ. I think it's funny. I think
AJ thought his favorite color was red, thought his favorite flavor was chocolate, and his favorite wrestler was AJ Styles. And I think it was mauve was his favorite color. Peanut butter was his favorite flavor, and his favorite wrestler was Andre the Giant.
Yes.
But Kofi and AJ Styles, great match. Little comedic finish. AJ was going to go for the phenomenal forearm, and here comes Xavier Woods blowing the trombone. I tell you, should have done that more over the years, because he blew the trombone, and AJ was like got spooked by it. And, you know, just that little bit, we had a little bit. I think Omos was walking after Xavier Woods. That distracted AJ Styles, and Kofi beats AJ.
Right.
You know.
And look, I don't want to sit there and say that the guy can't be stoic and he can't be a bodyguard, but I don't think there's anything wrong with showing that you're a human fucking being and not a machine at all times. That's what I meant by that. Yeah. Thanks, though.
Absolutely. But so look, you know, when it gets closer to WrestleMania, we'll do predictions. You know, right now I still think New Day will retain. I'm not sure if Omos and AJ Styles have a falling out. I don't think they should have a falling out this soon. I know Omos would get a pop, you know, similar to, maybe not similar, but I'll never forget when Andre the Giant lost when he was teaming up with Haku, and then Bobby Heenan started slapping around Andre, and Andre grabbed Bobby Heenan, and I remember Haku like this, because I've always told that story back in the day with my father, who was a triple degree black belt, when he used to beat me up. One time he hit me with the belt, and I looked at him and I said, "Is that the best you could do?" And if you just remember Haku from WrestleMania, my father was like this. He went into some type of like position, and I was like, oh, fuck. I think that was one of the last times my father ever laid his hands on me, too. My father, look, I know everybody knows about my father's heart stuff. My father is old school Italian. My father was brought up that he was disciplined, getting hit with the belt from my grandfather, and my father did it to me until I was like 15. Never did it again after that. So I'm sure some of you out there have been hit with the strap, and deservingly so. I deserve to get hit with the strap. My father's the best. But so I don't know if I want to see a breakup yet with AJ Styles and Omos. Unless they're ready for Omos to do something.
No.
I don't think so. I agree with you.
The guy hasn't even debuted yet. We're already talking about the idea that they're splitting apart.
Yeah.
Can he at least have his first match before we talk about the end of Omos and AJ Styles?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Miz against Jeff Hardy. And I know we've had this conversation before, but Joe punches because his lady wants to know. Is Jeff Hardy done? Is he pretty much now enhancement talent, trying to help elevate the...
Yeah.
Feels that way, right?
I'm okay with that. I think that's the best thing that Jeff Hardy can do right now, is he can go out there. And if you notice tonight, he wasn't taking any unnecessary bumps. There was a few times that he just did a very basic splash, and I'm like, wow, Jeff Hardy didn't do a 720 splash. He just fell on the guy.
Yeah.
He just fell on the Miz.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, Jeff must be hurting tonight or something. Jeff forgot to take his ibuprofen. But I'm okay with it. Look, Jeff Hardy's getting up there in years. I mean, why are we still expecting this guy to fall off of 40-foot ladders on the tables for no fucking reason at all? I don't think we should. I think if Jeff Hardy is going to be a guy that helps make other people have good matches or sells for them and has good matches, there's nothing wrong with that. This guy has had a long career in WWE, and this guy is going to continue to help as many people as possible. And that's going to put him on TV until he eventually retires and gets a Hall of Fame ring. And, you know, there you go.
Yeah, absolutely agree. Absolutely agree. Now, as you said, before all of this, Miz and Morrison, they announced next week they're going to debut their music video, and they're doing some type of Latin rap, making fun of Bad Bunny. And I started like coming up with my own ones. Instead of hey, hey, ho, ho, it's hey, hey, hop, hop. I used to like Cyndi Lauper's She Bop. Hey, hey, hop, hop. I buy groceries from Stop and Shop. Hey, hey, hop, hop. Pop goes the weasel, goes the weasel, goes pop. Hey, hey, hop, hop. To quote the Beastie Boys, drop. That's what you have coming, everybody, next week. If I make my own beat to it. Hey, hey, hop, hop. To quote the Beastie Boys, drop. Hey, hey, hop, hop.
Sure.
Are you looking forward to that next week? I'm looking forward to it. I think it's going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I think it's going to be hilarious.
Yeah.
I really do. I think it's going to be funny. Miz and Morrison are funny together. They do well together. It doesn't surprise me. I'm looking forward to it. Tonight's promo was really good, too. Once again, it just really goes to show how connected these two guys are, because Miz can start a sentence and Jomo can finish it, and vice versa. They are just – I don't even know if they rehearse. That's how natural these two guys are out there. I don't know if they have a script. I don't know if I even believe they have a script. I imagine they go over talking points and then just go out there and riff. They just seem – they're boys. They're clearly boys, and it fucking works.
They're brothers. Brothers from other mothers.
Right.
Hey, I get to name drop third base 2 weeks in a row. That's always a good thing if I could do that. Hey, hey, hop, hop. Pop goes the weasel because the weasel goes drop. Hey, hey, hop, hop, drop. All right, we'll move on. We move on. So after Miz's match, Bad Bunny with a little receipt because Miz challenges Bad Bunny to a one-on-one match at Mania. And as you and I have talked about over the last month, you know, it was going to be a tag match. If they felt that he couldn't go one-on-one, you will definitely see Damian Priest and Jomo get involved in this, without a doubt. They will definitely be involved in this. You might even get, some with the referee. You're out of here. And then J-Mo like, oh, come on. You get the dramatic ejection. But they are going to have a match, and Bad Bunny with the guitar shot to The Miz is a little receipt today, and he said, I accept your challenge, bitch. And let me point something else out, everyone. After that segment on Raw today, Bad Bunny went on social media and posted in Spanish that he was going to WrestleMania. Within 20 minutes, he had almost 25,000 likes. And you look at his wall, half of the comments, I don't know what they're saying because it's written in a different language. And I'm not saying that as a negative thing. My point is that the Puerto Rican culture is really, really into this. So, like I said, just the fact that this guy's a lifelong fan and there every week and at the Performance Center and really working to not make this into a comedy, that he's taking it seriously, you got to show respect for somebody like that. I don't have to like his music. I don't have to follow him after his wrestling stuff. But for the stuff that he's doing, I really can't complain about it. I can't.
There's nothing wrong with it. And I don't think we're supposed to take it seriously. Let's not take it seriously. It's Bad Bunny. He's not a wrestler. The whole storyline is that Miz is upset that for many, many years, WWE has brought in celebrities and sports athletes and sports stars and everything else like that to step into his ring. Let's not take this as a serious match. Can we stop that now? Let's not take this serious. I understand you have respect for the guy for even doing that, and you have respect for as many people that he touches in their lives, and he pleases them with his music and everything else like that. That's fantastic. But this is just as silly as Bray Wyatt and Randy Orton.
It's a different type of silly. Different kind of silly.
It is. I'm not saying it's the same thing.
Yeah.
But it's just as silly. There's no reason anybody should be watching this match going, Bad Bunny, my gosh, can he throw an arm bar? No, who cares? It's a goof match. Miz is going to cut some funny promos. Come on, they're leading up to next week of him and Jomo wearing bunny outfits, dancing around, parodying Bad Bunny's music. Let's not take it seriously.
Exactly. Okay. Mark Rush, Brian Becerra, welcome to the family, my friends. Big shout out to the other friends of the family. Now, don't forget, this Thursday, going to try to do this early afternoon. We'll do some calls with the family to test it out a little bit. If I don't know exactly what time yet, I'm assuming like 2, 3 o'clock in the afternoon Eastern. And if you can't make it for any reason this Saturday, we'll do the other half. We'll pre-record it in advance, and then we'll put it online for everyone. And if you can't make either one, or you don't want to call in the post area, the memberships, you could post as many questions as you want to ask me. Ask till you're exhausted, and I will answer them. So it doesn't have to be live. But yeah, we're going to do that later this week. So much love to everybody there. Now, quick cheap plug, tomorrow on Patreon, Mish and I will be on for Breakfast Soup. And one of the things I think we're going to do is this. The New Day has online some tournament that they put up called the Greatest Toy of All Time. And tomorrow, Mish and I are going to attempt to actually do this tournament in one episode. We will go through our choices on this list, and we will end up with the greatest toy of all time. I don't know if we're going to
for the win, y'all.
Yeah, I don't know. We'll leave it to the patrons tuning in live tomorrow. We'll leave it up to them if they want us to individually vote on every challenge that you see on this screen, or if you want, let's say, Mish to take the left side and I take the right side, and then we'll have the battle going to the end. And if it works out well, then we could flip-flop. You know, we could swap. You know, not this type of swap. But that was funny, man. I saw that meme.
You know, Papa was a gateway toy, right?
Yeah. Oh, man. Shout out.
Yeah.
Brandon Jones. At least Alexa Bliss is trying. Oh, Payton Royce, excuse me. And just give her time. We don't need to bring her down. I don't think we're trying to bring Payton Royce down. It's just, you know, when you cut a promo like that, like she did 2 weeks ago, and especially in WWE replays it, that might be a death nail. Not the only nail, not the final nail, but that could be a death nail. Because you go on that show and you get passionate like that. I know this sounds weird. Payton Royce knocking that promo out of the park might have been a mistake. Because if you knock it out of the park that well, that WWE takes notice and replays your promo, and then you go into the ring and have the match with Asuka, and you can't keep up, and it looks weak on a lot of ways, then you kind of like, you know, not that you blew it, but you're disappointed. And WWE, you know how they are, they can turn around and say, we're not going to revisit that anytime soon. So, in a way, this might have put her one step closer to reforming the Iconics. In a way, this might put her one step forward to WWE saying, not right now. Or
I'm very glad that you enjoy her, Brandon. I'm very glad that you like her, and I'm glad that you can see a future.
Yeah,
for
legit
her.
props.
And I appreciate on a personal level that you can hold somebody and you can see things that, you know, even in my own opinion, I can't see it. So, you know, good for you, sir. Good for you.
Yeah. So getting back to tonight, and look, we don't get into the matches in order. Wherever the conversation goes, it goes. Here's where I thought was absolutely stupid tonight. Let me explain. Sheamus had a match with Bobby Lashley. Now, later on in the night, Sheamus is interviewed, and we're back to the mutual respect between Sheamus and Drew McIntyre, which is a good thing. Sheamus and Bobby Lashley had a great match. In the end, Bobby Lashley with the hurt lock. Sheamus, loses. Then Sheamus gets beat down by Cedric Alexander and Shelton Benjamin. This causes Drew McIntyre to come down. Drew McIntyre makes the save. And basically, Shelton and Cedric backtrack. Drew gets in the ring with Bobby Lashley. And Drew's trying to bait Lashley into hitting him, and all MVP keeps saying is WrestleMania. Not personal. It's business. WrestleMania. And he gets Bobby Lashley to leave the ring. Let me get to why the part I thought was just absolutely stupid. So after that match is over, we see a backstage segment where Lashley is not happy with Cedric and Shelton. And basically, the storyline with Lashley is Lashley tells them, stay out of my business.
Yeah.
Stay out of my business. MVP reads them the riot act, especially because they lost the tag titles as well. But basically, they failed today. They failed.
Right.
So keep that thought in your head that Lashley don't want their help, don't need their help. He said, I didn't ask for you two to go out. I don't need you. So keep that thought for a second. So now Adam Pearce sees Drew McIntyre backstage, and Drew McIntyre wants a match against Shelton and Cedric together. And if Drew McIntyre wins, then Cedric and Shelton are banned from ringside during the match at WrestleMania. Right. Adam Pearce grants the match. Drew McIntyre defeats both of them. Claymore kick on both. The Claymore to Cedric freaking flipped over. I mean, it just was the best Claymore kick I think I've ever seen Drew McIntyre give to someone, or how somebody took it. Phenomenal.
Yeah, I was going to say, that was more Cedric than it was Drew.
Oh, yeah, it was all Cedric. But it was the most fun to see somebody take the Claymore. But so Drew wins. Here's where I thought it was stupid, make no sense whatsoever. They lose their match. They're now banned from ringside.
Right.
Why would Lashley be angry? Lashley got in their face that you mean to tell me that you, after what you did earlier, you actually have a match and you lose? Do you realize what you did to me? And I'm saying to myself, wait a minute. Storyline. Wait a minute. Lashley told him earlier he don't need them. He didn't ask for the help.
You're not reading the room. You're not reading the room on this one. You're missing it. Look, just because Bobby Lashley said that he doesn't want around, that he doesn't want them around.
Oh, this is the Chad Gable thing? Just because I said that, I mean the opposite?
Yeah, he's a heel, dude. He's full of shit. Of course he wants them around.
I don't think Lashley was being as heelish
or anything like that. I just mean he wants the option of having them around. You know what I mean? It's kind of like he's throwing up face. He's asserting his dominance. But when everything is down, he relies on other people to help him with the win. It's a heel thing to do. It's a heel tactic. MVP will rely on Shelton to come down to the ring and Cedric to come down to the ring and help Bobby Lashley. Even if Bobby Lashley says, I don't want them there, that doesn't mean that MVP doesn't want them there. I'm telling you, it's a read the room kind of thing.
I understand what you're saying, but the way it was displayed and explained on TV and the way it came out, it made zero sense to me.
Okay.
You know, like, why would Lashley be angry that they're barred from ringside? He just cut a promo earlier saying, I don't need you guys out there.
Right.
So they're not going to be out there.
Face value, you're 100% correct. But this isn't a face value circumstance. This is, let's take into account the fact that these four guys are all a heel faction together. Let's take into account that they've watched each other's backs before. Let's take into account Lashley's ego. Let's take into account MVP's clever wit and underhandedness to get the job done. Let's take into account that Cedric and Shelton are both henchmen. Let's take these things into account. Now, all of a sudden, even though at face value, it means one thing, when you start analyzing everything, it means something completely different.
Well, after this happened, Lashley goes into another locker room. And in the locker room, I think it was Drew Gulak, Humberto Carrillo, Ricochet. Was Rey Mysterio in there? I don't think somebody would. No, I think it was Kalisto maybe. There were a bunch of guys in the locker room. And Lashley tells them all, look, if any of you take out Drew McIntyre before WrestleMania, you get the shot. And they're all looking at each other like, So I think you have an idea of what's going to happen next week. Drew McIntyre is going to beat the shit out of probably 7 people.
Probably.
That's what probably we're going to see next week. The Lucha House Party were there. Yeah. Grand Metalik, that's what was there. As we said last week, everyone, if you haven't seen the progression of Alberto Carrillo in the gym, go check it out. And he's getting the facial hair that we've been saying that he needs badly. So, what else did we get today? We got any other matches today? I don't think so. We just had the Braun Strowman and Elias. Yesterday.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, look, it pretty much was what we thought it was. Elias has a return match with Braun Strowman.
Yeah.
With Jackson Riker out there. Shane McMahon is out there. Shane is still with the crutches and still with the bubble wrap wrapped around his knee, which, is trying to pretend it's an ice pack. Braun Strowman,
I will say it was a good idea, and I was very upset that Shane didn't do anything yesterday. Like yesterday, that was the worst match on the entire card. Even though
that was for me. Yeah.
It was one of the worst matches on the entire card, only because there was no fucking point to it at all. It didn't make anybody look good in that scenario. Braun beat up Elias for no reason. Elias wasn't his opponent. Shane was his opponent. If Shane couldn't make the match, Braun didn't have to fight Elias and Riker. He didn't have to do any of that. But he did, and he destroyed him, and he made them both look like idiots, so they walk out of there looking like idiots. Braun Strowman yesterday continued to look like an idiot because he fought people for no fucking reason, and Shane McMahon didn't do anything. He didn't capitalize on a fake situation that he put out there. At least tonight, they had the same match that they had yesterday, but Shane went out there and clubbed him with the fucking crutch, and at least tried to capitalize on being the heel in this matchup. We know we're getting this at Mania, obviously, right. now of course, but now we at least have Shane making the move. So now we'll see where it goes. But yesterday, oh my God, did they fuck that up? You want
to know something? Friday, they showed the match on SmackDown as one of the pay-per-view matches. When I did the predictions contest on Patreon, I didn't include that match. And I had a bunch of people, and someone will tune on live tomorrow, and they'll tell you, they had a bunch of people DM me and say yesterday, oh, you forgot Shane and Braun. I said, no, I didn't. But he's not, but then you didn't put the match. I know. What's going to happen? I'm like, just wait for the pay-per-view. Because I had emailed someone, I said, do I put this match in here or not? What do I have to expect? And they said, fuckery. That's pretty much what it was. That match was never going to happen. It was mind games. That's why I even teased.
But there was no mind games, though.
The mind games was that Shane backed out and Braun was not prepared to wrestle someone else. So Shane, if you see where it's going, Shane's ideas are starting to backfire. He put Elias in there yesterday, didn't get the job done. Put Elias in there today again, didn't get the job done. Hits the crutch with Braun and then runs away, not realizing that everybody could see that his knee is fine.
Yeah, but the person that really should be fucking upset in all of this is Elias.
Right.
Elias got the shit kicked out of him by Braun, and he got lied to by Shane twice.
Yes.
Elias is the ultimate baby face in this fucking matchup.
Right. So Shane should be calling Elias the dummy here.
Pretty much.
Yeah. Seriously.
He didn't get over on Braun like that. Elias is the fucking dummy. Yeah.
Yeah. So, but that's what we got. So we'll see what the stipulation is. We'll know next Monday, One other segment that we didn't bring up. We kind of brought it up earlier. But when Sheamus was being interviewed and he was saying that as far as Drew coming out there to pretty much save him earlier, they just brawled yesterday. Why is Drew coming out there? And Sheamus says that they have mutual respect for each other. So I like that. I mean, they tore it up for the last month. Now it's back to being friends, a little mutual respect. But then Riddle zooms by. And then Riddle to Sheamus, like, bro, I got a couple of questions for you. You believe in a Loch Ness monster? Bro, did Drew ever come to your house? Bro, and Sheamus is like, oh, this is a pretty cool scooter. You know, could you ride this? And he's like, bro, I just greased it. And Sheamus hits him right in the stomach and throws the scooter on the floor. And Riddle, brain dead Riddle, was it something I said?
Yeah.
It's leading to a match at Mania, it seems.
Yeah.
You know.
Maybe.
I don't mind. I don't mind how they tweaked Riddle a little bit. You know, you could see that it's, you know, it's tweaked a little bit. Like Riddle now.
I don't know. Yesterday at the pay-per-view was really bad.
Oh, yeah. With the
he looked like a complete moron with Shinsuke. Oh, boy.
It reminded me of the movie Airplane. Remember the guy, every time he was on the plane sitting next to someone and he starts telling his story about the war, and one woman they're hanging themselves. Yeah, the guy poured gasoline over himself, and that's what it felt like. But, you know, look, Riddle now went from like a pothead beach bum to now someone who is simple, naive, friendly, innocent, harmless. Are those right words to say?
Simple bro.
He's a simple bro.
Jack, but it's simple bro. I got it.
So, well, we'll see what happens if they make that match at the pay-per-view. You know, other match we got to bring up quickly, Dana Brooke and Mandy Rose, they lose to Nia and Shayna. It was a non-title match. You have Naomi and Lana on commentary. And we got Reggie doing all his Cirque du Soleil flips and all that stuff. We know he's an acrobat, legit. He's doing all the flips. They're replaying. You could see that this is similar to like the rift with Sasha and Bianca. In that case, neither one likes Reginald. But here's a case where Nia has a little bit of a crush, and Shayna doesn't want no part of it. If you notice, Nia walks through the rope that Reggie is holding open for her, and Shayna goes through the opposite side of the ring. They win the match, and Nia is holding Reginald's hand up high, and Shayna's like, raise my hand, motherfucker. So you could see Shayna Baszler ultimately is going to slap the bejesus out of Reginald.
Oh, yeah. Well,
she is going to knock him on his goddamn ass.
Reginald is Nia's sugar baby. Come on now.
Just think.
Haven't we already seen that with the vignettes of when Nia's taking him out shopping and dressing him up? Dude, that's what he is. He's Nia's sugar baby.
Yeah. Just think. They use Reginald to further the split between Sasha and Bianca. And ultimately, they're going to use Reginald to split Nia and Shayna.
Yeah.
Should Reginald be in that type of a position? Because I hated the interaction with Sasha and Bianca.
Yeah.
I
think it's well, okay. So the difference is I think Nia having a side piece kind of makes sense. Reginald, how do I put this nicely? Reginald doesn't make sense with Bianca. Reginald doesn't make sense with Sasha at all. He doesn't make sense with either of them. Reginald, the type of character that he plays, makes perfect sense for Nia. Perfect sense.
Too bad we're not in maybe more of an attitude era, because you know there would be some hilarious
there'd be some dating. Absolutely. There would be some late night dating, maybe some bedroom antics, you know.
I could picture her wearing leather with chains.
Oh, yeah.
And just
maybe they go shopping for marital toys, you know.
Whipping Reginald. No, please, no. Psh, psh. I could picture it, man. I don't mind.
I'm just saying, if this was the 90s, this angle would be a lot different. A lot different. Nia's sugar mommy
That would be funny. That would be funny seeing him do a hotel segment. And you look at the love seat.
That would be great. Like, oh, dude, perfect, right? So they would open up, right? And they'd have like WWE, somebody from WWE, like wanting an interview with Reginald or with Nia, right? And Nia comes out and she's wearing a towel and she talks. She's like, oh, hold on a second. She opens up the door like slightly. And you hear in the bedroom somebody saying something. And Nia goes back in and she's like, oh, give me a minute. And she closes the door and Reginald comes towards the camera and his face is just dripping wet.
Oh, he's got lipstick marks all over him.
Maybe his mouth is just dripping wet. Just his mouth. Just his mouth is dripping wet.
I could see a segment where they show Nia and Reginald in the bed with a cover over them, and Nia has this big smile on her face. Reginald has this look on his face like he's seen a ghost, and they keep panning the camera and sitting on the couch in the corner with her belt to Shayna Baszler, like, why am I here?
Maybe they just do a cutaway.
I'm telling you, don't be surprised if they do that.
All you see is Reginald sitting on the corner of the bed, just.
I'm telling you, they can do that now. They could show Nia in the bed with a big smile on her face. And then Reginald, he's like, and then they keep panning the camera and Shayna Baszler's like.
Oh, dude, they could do other things too. Like maybe Reginald has a foot fetish and they do like where they're actually zooming in and Reginald is like cutting her toenails. And like,
then we're going to get tweets from Snitsky again. We don't want Snitsky tweeting again.
Oh, come on. Reginald chewing on Nia's feet. That's safe, right? Like you can actually having him put her big toe in his mouth. And that's not risque, is it? Can you put
it's
a
not
big
risque,
toe in
but
his mouth?
I don't know if I really want to see that.
No
no, thank you.
That's the point. No one does.
God.
Maybe my sick mind. But
well, the very end today, Randy Orton wants the Fiend to come out, summons the Fiend. We get Alexa Bliss instead with the distorted Firefly Funhouse music. Right. And exactly what you and I said last week we wanted. This time she comes out with the Jack in the Box. Pops open. Lights go out. And Bray Wyatt, still dressed like last night, is in the ring. Randy Orton is looking in the direction of Alexa Bliss. Doesn't know that the Fiend is behind him at first. Randy Orton turns around, and the Fiend is just staring at him. And Randy Orton pulls out from a burlap sack a 5-gallon container of gasoline. He starts throwing the gasoline on the Fiend, pours it on the floor. I liked Randy Orton's little detail, because he's wiping his hands, because obviously in storyline, you have gasoline all over yourself. You got to catch yourself on fire too.
He's good at this, dude. He's a complete fucking ham. Randy Orton is really good at this. When he opened up the canister, he went, oh.
Yeah.
We know it was fucking water, Randy.
Yeah. I tell you, what I thought was going to happen, I thought they were going to do like the reverse of the Supernatural. I thought Randy Orton was going to light the match and throw it, and it goes out. Like nothing lights up. Like, of course, it's water, but this time the Fiend doesn't get caught on fire. I thought Randy Orton was going to throw the match and nothing was going to happen. Right. But this time around, instead of Randy Orton throwing the match, he gives an RKO to the Fiend.
Yes.
Turns around and he's staring at Alexa Bliss. Meanwhile, the Fiend gets back up, and then the Fiend ultimately puts the mandible claw on Randy Orton, chokes him out. And then, like I said, if you go back and you look at it, I could swear the Fiend had a microphone in his left hand, and then he's standing over Randy Orton, and Alexa Bliss is giddy as hell. We have no complaints with her character either. And she points to the WrestleMania sign, and we see flames going up. So,
very good on Bray Wyatt for not taking that moment to actually, if he had the mic in his hand, for not actually talking into it.
That would have been the worst.
I think that would have been, that wouldn't have been a good reaction, because you don't want that yet.
Yeah.
You don't want anybody talking for Bray Wyatt. Alexa's doing just fine. Let Alexa keep being queen puppet master right now, and vice versa for Bray. But yeah, we don't need Bray getting out there and go, "Oh my love children, my firefly." We don't need any of that shit. We don't need
I told you so. You know, like,
all that. Yeah.
What is a monster supposed to say? Like, I saw the microphone in his hand and I'm like, what am I looking at? Are you mean to tell me the fucking Fiend is going to talk? He's going to issue the challenge? I thank God they didn't talk. I could swear it was a microphone. I could swear.
This is going great. This is going great. I'm enjoying it. Randy Orton's like, no more bullshit. And I loved it. I laughed because I'm like, what do you mean, Randy? Now that you said that there's no more bullshit, that's all we're going to get is bullshit. Thank you, Randy.
Well, that's how they went off the air.
It's a good show, dude.
Look, we're only
fun. I'm fine with this.
We only have 2 more Raws before Mania. So next week, we will see a couple of stipulations. The type of match with Randy and Bray, we'll find out. We'll find out what stip for Shane and Braun. We'll get an update on Charlotte. And, it's really going to come down to is when she caught COVID. I heard about a week ago. So if she caught it about 7 to 9 days ago, there is a possibility that she could be out of quarantine next Monday. Maybe she shows up, makes it a 3-way. I think, there might be a better chance if she can go that they make it where she surprises everyone and shows up at Mania. But, look, COVID's no joke and everybody handles it differently. Let's wait and see. The most important thing is that she gets better.
Yeah, no, for sure.
Yeah. So with that said, we're 5 minutes away from 2 hours, so we're going to start wrapping this up. Just to let everyone know, you might want to mark this on your calendar. And I know a lot of you newer fans of wrestling out there probably never saw the biographies that A&E did about 20 years ago involving wrestling. Some of them were phenomenal. Loved the biographies on A&E 20 years ago. They're doing new ones. And this is the schedule for the new biographies that are going to be coming out on A&E. August 18th, Steve Austin, and each one is 2 hours long, by the way. It's not no 30-minute crap. Steve Austin, April 18th. Randy Macho Man Savage, April 25th. May 2nd, Roddy Piper. May 9th, Booker T. May 16th, Shawn Michaels. May 23rd, Bret Hart. May 30th, Mick Foley. June 6th, The Ultimate Warrior. So,
good.
And we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens. I mean, like I said, obviously the producers are different, but WWE worked with them on this one. So WWE gave them permission for a lot of footage. We're going to see a lot of things. And,
right.
It'll be nice. It'll be nice.
Nice.
So,
very good.
Everyone, keep your thoughts and your prayers for Genichiro Tenryu. Big star in the 90s. That was a guy that you hear out of my mouth on the hotlines back in the day. He is suffering from some congestive heart failure. He is resting comfortably in a hospital in Japan, but he's 71 and he's got some serious heart issues. So trust me, that hits home for yours truly. So we wish him nothing but the best. So he's got heart problems, Harris. Genichiro Tenryu. So, but I think that's pretty much it. So Mish, any final thoughts before we call it?
No, everything's good, man. I will see everybody tomorrow on Breakfast Soup, and this.
Yeah. Extreme One, Dana Brooke released. Tell WWE, don't tell us. Yeah, Darren, everyone, before you go, as always, if you enjoyed the show, we would appreciate it that you smash that like button. Let YouTube know that you enjoyed the show. They, in return, will let others know. And, Mish and I will be on Breakfast Soup tomorrow. We'll do that game stuff, the best toy of all time. We'll do some VIP questions. We'll have fun. 8 p.m. Eastern.
Absolutely. See you, DT. Much love.
Have a good
everyone.
night, Mish. Take care. All right, everybody. I want to thank you all for tuning in. See how I got this split screen. Only if Mish was looking the other way, it would have been perfect. But everyone, I want to thank you for tuning in tonight. Much love as always. Big shout out once again to everybody who tuned in live. I really appreciate all of your support. And, post your comments in the comments section. Let us know what you thought about Raw and anything that we talked about tonight as well. And if you're on our Patreon, check us out. Tomorrow we'll be live, 8 p.m. Eastern, on the Patreon Discord section. Or Patreon section on Discord, I should say. If you're not a Patreon yet, if you want to check it out, patreon.com/Don Tony. Don't have to break the bank. You could sign up for as little as $5. Get you all the Patreon exclusive shows. There's at least 8 to 10 Patreon exclusive shows a month. You got ad-free episodes of all the shows that I do outside of Patreon. We do contests and a few other things, so go check it out. But Tony, when is the 12-hour show? Within the next month or two. Might do it right after Mania. Was thinking about doing it before Mania, but we don't want to overload anyone. I mean, we're already going to have 7-8 days of straight wrestling. Throw a 12-hour show in there as well. You're going to burn everybody out before Mania even happens. So probably right after Mania, we'll set it up, and we will have a few video guests on here. I know Chaos wants to hang out. Connor from OKFabe, Mish, I'm sure, will pass by. And I have a few other people that I'm thinking about bringing on for a little while to do some video. So we'll have a good one. We'll have a good one. And, like I said, if we do it, we're probably going to do some charity involved with it as well. You do a 12-hour marathon, things could get boring very, very quickly. So if we mix it up with some Q&A, I put more of the vintage wrestling stuff on there as well. By the way, if any of you out there did not tune into Thursday's show, you got to go check it out. Go check out the indie stuff that I posted involving yours truly this time around. It was probably the most well-received segments that I have posted yet. We had an absolute ball Thursday night. It was something special. So if you go check out, in fact, you know what? By the magic of technology, when I go like this, the link is going to pop up for everybody in the archive. So I have timestamps for my stuff, so you could go right to it. And we'll do it again this Thursday as well. So everyone have a great night. And I'll either see you tomorrow night at 8 p.m. Eastern on Patreon. If you're not on Patreon, then I will see you Wednesday night, 10:05 p.m. One last thing before I go, other than thank you. I am going on a little mini vacation next weekend. This weekend is my birthday. We were going to go away, but I have a few things to do. Plus, I want to hang out with our members here for a little bit and do some Q&A and live talk. But so next week is my fiance's birthday. Our birthdays are a week apart. So next week, Thursday night late until Monday afternoon, we will be out of New York. So what that means is that next Friday, there will not be an episode of the Don Tony Show. I will still be up here on Thursday. But right after the show is over, I am going to crash. And then early Friday morning, going to be on the road and be on vacation for 4 days. So, but yeah, thank you everyone for the birthday wishes. I didn't say that, if anybody give birthday wishes, but yeah, this Saturday is my birthday, and we'll have some fun on Monday. We'll see. But technically, I'm not going to celebrate it until next weekend. So, all right, everybody, much love. Thank you as always for tuning in, and we'll catch you either tomorrow or Wednesday. And be safe. Be careful. We're getting our way out of this COVID stuff. We got a little bit more to go, but hopefully, a couple of months from now, we could start seriously, looking in the back mirror of this. It'll linger for a couple of years, but I think a couple of months more, and we really should have it under some serious control. So thank you, everybody. Have a good night. Much love, and I'll see you all again either tomorrow or Wednesday. Ciao.